Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with your Monday to Friday update for Bitcoin and XRP. If you're new here and you're not subscribed, I recommend doing so. I'm going to give you my 16 years experience, 11 of which as a CMT for free, Monday to Friday for these two markets. So you don't want to lose this channel. We have Jack Frost Wednesday to Saturday giving you Ethereum and Solana. So hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and make a comment because all of your engagement helps this little YouTube channel grow. Bitcoin is still within this big rectangle pattern. It's a slightly downward sloping rectangle, but it's sideways. It's a rectangle. I've also got this downward sloping channel which is providing support and resistance. Well, not perfect support, but fairly decent resistance. Price is still within the rectangle. We've been expecting this upward swing, but I keep saying don't expect price to move in a straight line. It's choppy and overlapping. It's just fallen short of resistance on the 29th, a little bit of a pullback. We're going to have a look at volume and we're going to have a look at range to try and tell, is this pullback going to continue a little bit lower? The last completed candlestick has a decline in range, a decline in volume, and it's got a bullish lower wick. So we might have the end of this little pullback. If we get further downward movement, look for support at 60,700, but I am expecting overall this upward swing to continue, and this time when it gets closer to resistance, 73,100, I will be expecting most likely an upward breakout from this rectangle. That's the bigger picture I'm expecting here for Bitcoin. The last completed downward session has a decline in volume, so there's a bit of weakness and downward movement there, suggesting that we might get a little bit of upward movement very, very short term, but I think overall that pullback's probably not quite complete. For the very, very short term, we may be getting a very, very weak bearish signal from on-balance volume, but if the current session closes green, then we're going to get another pivot here on on-balance volume. It's going to move higher, and I'll have to slightly adjust the support line. For now, we might be getting a very small break below the support line, but I need to wait for the current session to close to see if on-balance volume moves lower and makes that weak bearish signal clear, or if it moves higher and we adjust the support line. There's no clear trend from ADX at the moment. With no clear trend, utilizing a model of stochastics plus support and resistance would tell us to expect a pullback to continue lower to support until stochastics reaches very close to or at oversold. ATR is starting to decline as well as price is starting to move just a little bit lower, a little bit of weakness and downward movement. If the pullback continues, it's a pullback within this ongoing upward swing. Elliott Wave analysis for XRP, I'm going to step back and look at the weekly chart because we need to have a look at this best fit channel. The Elliott Wave analysis sees a cycle degree third wave unfolding as an impulse. That will be labelled primary 1, which is complete off to the left of the chart, primary 2, complete here, primary 3, and then we need 4 and 5 within cycle wave 3. Primary 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. Within it, intermediate 1 may be a complete leading expanding diagonal, intermediate 2 a complete triple zigzag, and intermediate 3 in its very early stages. Actually, I'm going to move the invalidation point up here now that the triple zigzag is likely complete. This is where risk lies for the mid to long term for XRP. You can use my invalidation points to help you manage risk. You have to allow room for price to move when you calculate risk reward ratios, when you decide to enter an investment or you decide to enter a trading position. These invalidation points are showing you where you have to allow for price to move. If I were going to buy any more XRP, and I'm not, I'm fully loaded, I've got plenty, I'm buying and holding for a few more years probably, but if I were, I would understand that if price makes a new low below 0.3838, I might consider selling for a small loss, because at that stage we might actually be in a bear market for XRP. I expect for this Elliott Wave count, price should not move below 0.3838. This is where my risk lies. Risk management is the most boring, most overlooked aspect of trading. Everybody who's using this analysis that I'm providing for trading decisions, if you're new to trading, you will wipe out your accounts more than once. My goal is to have my analysis more right than wrong, and in recent weeks or months, I think it's been overall pretty accurate, particularly those swings for Bitcoin within that rectangle. I've also had some pretty good calls on XRP. I've had a few times also where I didn't get it right. There's no way anyone is going to be right all the time I will make mistakes, and sometimes low probability outcomes will occur, and when they do, it will never be what I expected is most likely. That's how probability works, and that's why risk management is so important. If your risk management is totally on point, you can actually have more instances where you make a loss than a profit, and you can still be profitable overall because your losses are contained and you allow your profits to meet your risk reward ratio. So you can still be wrong with your analysis if your risk management is good enough. I just can't stress that enough, because I see some comments about people complaining about having a loss today because of this upward movement today from XRP. This is a really, really minuscule, tiny upward movement, and I'm showing you the weekly chart today because it's finding resistance right at this trend channel. This is where the risk lies for this short-term Elliott Wave count, and I'm really, really uncomfortable with people who do not have good risk management, who are not very, very experienced traders, trading using my analysis in cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies have the extreme volatility, the most volatility I've ever seen in any charts. High volatility means higher risk. The probability of you wiping out your account if you're learning to trade cryptocurrencies, I'm going to say, is 100% at least once, if not multiple times, before you manage to have good risk management. If you're learning to trade, for goodness sake, please learn to trade on something with lower volatility and lower risk, like the euro-dollar currency pair. Don't do it on cryptocurrencies. This structure here could potentially be an expanded flat. These are not rare structures. These are actually pretty common. And the problem with them is the B wave makes a new price extreme beyond the start of A. I did not give you a short-term upper invalidation point at 0.6375. If you've entered short here and you've been stopped out by this one upward session, you're probably not allowing for enough room beyond support and resistance for overshoots before price moves back in. You're not allowing for good risk management. This is where risk lies, and that's why I didn't give you this price point. If price makes a full green daily candlestick above and not touching this trend line, I would label the pullback for minute wave 2 complete here. I would then expect a third wave up at minute degree would then be underway. But in the first instance, I expect resistance at this trend line. This could be wave B within an expanded flat for minute 2. They're reasonably common structures, and the way you identify them is you identify weakness in the B wave. So the expanded flat could be A, B, C. Expanded flats are common structures. Running flats are extremely rare structures, which tells me to expect, if this part of the wave count is right, that C should make a new low below A at 0.5404. I expect we're going to get the end of C with a sharp wick down to 0.5252 before price turns around and moves up for a third wave. Because from this low to this high, this upward movement fits so beautifully as a zigzag. If this is the end of 2 and the start of a third wave, you can't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on up for the third wave, because it may only be an impulse, and you can't have a triangle in a second wave position. So because this triangle has such a good fit from this low to this high, this looks really good as a zigzag. Now, if you've had a loss from this, you're probably not going to want to hear this. I would strongly suggest that if you're getting a bit emotional about it, step back and just focus on risk management. Try and analyze what went wrong. Why did you not allow for price to move beyond resistance before moving back down? And why did you ignore this trend line? I just wish people would not be using this analysis if you're learning to trade. I can't stop it, but all I can do is tell you, you just need to have good risk management. I don't know how much of that I'm going to leave in. Probably not much. Oh my goodness. I'm ranting about risk management again. Oh my God, I just don't know. I'm going to have to cut this out. I don't know. People don't want me lecturing them. But also I don't want you blaming me when you get it wrong, for God's sake. God, look, just go and follow Coins Kid. He knows what he's doing. He'll tell you what to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give you analysis. He's going to tell you how to trade. There's a really big difference. Just, oh my goodness. I'm going to leave this in. I'm going to put a link to CoinsKid's YouTube channel. He's got a Discord group as well. Go and follow him and listen to what he's doing. He's got good risk management. He knows what he's doing. He's trading. I'm not trading. I'm investing for the long term. I have a really different outlook, even though we're both using Elliott Wave. Okay, On to technicals for XRP. Price is now closing above what was resistance at 62. Resistance now turns to support. But let's have a look and see, is it doing it with an increase in volume? There was some increase in volume for these 3 sessions, but the current session for the 31st of July so far has a decline. We're only at 11:46 a.m. However, Eastern Standard Time, if it has an increase in volume, I would have concerns about the short-term Elliott Wave count. If it has a decline in volume, it could indicate a B wave, but I want to see the upper edge of that channel I've shown you on the weekly and daily Elliott Wave charts. I want to see that breached before I really have confidence that this area of resistance has been broken and that we're on the way up. Until now, the Elliott Wave structure has a really good look as an expanded flat potentially. So yesterday's complete session, an increase in volume. Overall though, volume is lighter than previous upward movement on the 16th of July. If the 31st of July could show an increase beyond the 30th, then I would have concerns over the short-term picture for the Elliott Wave count. If it shows a decline, that could indicate a B wave and would support the Elliott Wave count. But it's still probably going to be lighter than the 17th of July, still offering some support to the Elliott Wave count, even if we see an increase for the 31st. I hope that makes sense. ADX tells us there's still an upward trend. It's extreme, but not very extreme. RSI is neutral. It's not overbought. There's quite a long way to go before the trend gets extreme and conditions get overbought. Money flow also neutral. A long way to go before this reaches extreme. A decline in range, however, as price is moving higher overall, does indicate that there is a little bit of weakness here, offering just a little bit of support that this could be a B wave within an expanded flat. That's it from me. Sorry about the rant, guys. Hope you're all having a lovely day.